I want to talk to you today about the important thing I didn't do in the garden this year. We've got a full day of plant propagation, gardening, animal care, and planting fruit trees. I've got my animal food here, and I'm just going to grab a couple handfuls of these black oil sunflower seeds. I'm just going to stick those in my pocket for a spot in the garden. Our duck is faithfully sitting on her eggs in here. I was hoping to get a good look this morning, but we're happy that she's sticking to her nest and just doing a really good job. I have my sweet potato slips and a few seeds that I haven't planted yet, or seeds I'm filling in where they didn't come up. This is a Mexican bean beetle, and they can ravage your beans. I'm afraid it's going to be a bad year for them because they're already just all over these little plants. I'm going to squish this bug, kind of gross. We've got 3 rows of beans, and right now, while the plants are small, it's relatively easy to go through and just mechanically control the beetles, smash their little yellow eggs on the bottoms of the leaves. That's okay, but when the plants get big, there's so many beetles and so much surface area, it's really hard to control them. But what I neglected to do was provide an environment conducive to predators that will prey on the larva of the Mexican bean beetle. I'm up here in this cover crop patch at the top of the garden, and we've got mustard coming up really well. Buckwheat everywhere. The buckwheat is beautiful. Sudan grass, sorghum, and radishes everywhere. I recently watched a really great talk on the YouTube channel of Living Web Farm. If you don't know their channel, you got to check it out. They have a huge amount of information in their videos. The talk was on providing a conducive environment for beneficial predator insects. Say wasps are a very common beneficial predator insect, and the wasps lay their eggs either on the larva of your garden pests or on the eggs of the garden pests, and then later they develop in the eggs or in the larva and kill the larva. To be honest with you, I've always kind of thought of this as like a fun thing you could do in your garden. I've read about it before, but when I watched this talk, it totally changed my perspective. One of the guys was high up in North Carolina agriculture for years. He has his doctorate degree, and he's worked with a lot of commercial farms implementing these strategies. They gave examples of farms that had dramatically less problems with garden and plant pests because they implemented these strategies. When you plant beans like this in your garden, you're basically setting the table for pests like the Mexican bean beetle to come in and sit down and eat. But you also can put out the doormat for these beneficial insects. They need blooming plants because they also, many of the adults eat pollen. I came out here after listening to that talk and just looked around the garden, and it looks great, it looks good. But what I realized is if you look around here, there's nothing blooming in the garden. There's nothing out here that a predator wasp would be interested in. There's a whole list of plants that predator insects and wasps love, like dill and yarrow, fennel. Then a lot of flowers, bachelor's buttons. There's a whole list of them, and I don't have any of them out here. I'll put some links in the description. I'll link the Living Web Farms video if you want to watch that. It's real long. I, for one, am gonna go ahead and plant a couple of these empty spots with some of the seeds we already have that attract beneficial insects, and then we'll see if they can grow fast enough to help us with the Mexican bean beetles. Now it's time to plant these sweet potato slips. We've never grown sweet potatoes before, and the slips never look like they'll grow. I mean, look at them. They're just little green sticks. You basically stick them in the ground, bury them up to the top leaves. Not much leaves to speak of. And that's it. You don't put them in your best ground. You don't want real high nitrogen soil, or they'll just grow greens. So I just need to water them and tell myself that they're gonna grow. Next I'm planting Ojibwe squash. I'm not sure if these are commercially available. I actually don't know, but they were given to me by someone who knew someone in the Ojibwe tribe. I think that's the story anyway. Yeah. And then one more neat one I just put in. I don't even know how to pronounce this. Cheat Okosomin squash from the White River Nation. That's an ancient squash, hundreds of years old. That's actually from a viewer. Now it's just time to water the sweet potatoes and all the seeds I put in. I do all my major watering at night, so the reservoir has time to totally fill by the morning. And but I got to get those seeds at least damp, and the sweet potatoes. Well, that's that for now.
We're making Grace's birthday present. That is a claw.
I was actually just wanting Grace to ask you to set up the garden so I can come be there with the baby.
Oh, cool.
Because if we don't get out of the house, I'm going to lose my mind.
All right, let's get you out there.
Thank you.
What do you have, buddy?
Hey, Bubba, look at my puss.
Where did you get that, buddy? Grace made it. Good job, Grace. That made him happy.
Let's go see Grace again.
Okay. If you didn't understand him, he said, "Hey, Justice, look at my purse." Grace made him a little bag. And if you're wondering what happened to his face, he fell down in the front yard on rocks. Where did she go? Where did she go? Where did she go? She is.
Give me purse.
Thank you for making a purse. Good job. You're so sweet.
So we're going to leave Daddy's tree right there. I made it off the couch. Hallelujah. I did it. Okay, so last year we had huge patches of sunflowers all over. But now those places are being used for orchards and things like that. So this is my old herb garden bed, and we're just gonna plant tons of sunflowers here because sunflowers make me happy.
So why am I planting trees this time of year? Basically because when trees cost $20 to $30 each, and you can get them for $10, it's just very tempting to try and experiment. I'm pretty sure if they die, they'll give me my money back too. Basically though, these trees have been kept dormant. Pretty interesting that they're experiencing spring right now in June.
One of the reasons I love planting like a big area of sunflowers like this is the kids can help, and it really doesn't matter if they mess up or if they're wasteful. I mean, it's a 50-pound bag for 20 bucks, so this is just one scoop from that bag. If I've learned one thing about planting trees in all my years of homesteading experience, haha, it's to plant them, don't plant them too deep, plant them high.
What?
Because if you come back to your tree next year and you want to put 6 inches of mulch around it, your tree's going to be in a pit.
How's that going?
What?
How's that going?
What we have back here is a Montgomery cherry, a black tartan cherry, and an Emperor Francis cherry. These are the elderberry plants that I pulled out of the side of the highway the other day. I'm just going through them and checking to make sure they look okay. I'm gonna put the 4 or maybe 5 best over here near these cherry trees. Well, I think we're gonna have to call it a day. Bree's gone in to make supper. I'm out here with the kids still. This has been another great day on the homestead. We got a lot done. There's a lot more to do. I've still got 4 trees unplanted. We'll see you in our next video very soon.